I'm
were
ready.
born ready. Hell yeah. They say the first time is always the best. It's such an honor. I must say that the singles that you released recently got me so bad. It's insanely good. And it's cool to have you on the show because I know you've been involved in a lot of projects in your career and you dedicate your life to music and losing money in the name of music. So
Yeah.
for people that don't maybe recognize your beautiful choking victim hat or your beautiful face, who the hell are you?
Hi, who the hell am I? I am Tibbie X, and my middle name, which is also my real name, is Sky. And I've been in punk bands for a long time, and I sing for Leftover Crack now, and sometimes play bass for Crack Rock Steady Seven. If we ever do that again, I don't know. And I played bass for Reagan Youth for 12 years and other stuff.
That's crazy when you think about it. I'm sure when you were a kid dreaming about playing music, you never thought that, 30 years later, 40 years later, you will be still around, doing it. But it's crazy. It's cool that you're living your dream. And I know it inspire a lot of people and a lot of girl out there to go and take the mic, take a guitar, a bass, whatever, and do something. So thank you for that. I'm curious. Let's get back to when you were a little kid, way, 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 way back in times. How did you start discovering music? And were there people around you, family, friends, or whatever, that influenced you into discovering band?
Um, Honestly, I was in a very like serious Russian ballet company. I had a very Russian conservative upbringing, piano lessons, ballet. I wore these weird like Victorian dresses in this small town, Long Island, serious, and um I had a babysitter when I was like 9, and she shaved half her head and got kicked out of like some ballet performance. And I was like, whoa, she's cool. And we snuck out and hung out with the high school kids, and they were listening to nothing really underground. Like they were listening to like Adamant and Billy Idol. And I saw a poster on her wall, and it was Adamant, and like he had like his pants were low, and like his shirt was kind of open, and he looked cool, and I was like, I want to look like that. So I started researching music, and I lived in California with my elderly grandparents in the summer, which was bleak, like really, like they didn't turn the lights on during the day. I was alone. My grandmother was chain smoking, just like never have friends. Friends come over and they are eating your food and stealing your man. So I would like steal change from the sofa and like run out and go to record stores and get, cassettes and 7 inches. And that was my introduction to punk. That's where like I found music that I related to, and it was like an escape from this like, I feel like Russians understand like this kind of oppressive, war traumatized life. So, that's was my introduction to punk back then. And not a lot of women. There was Legal Weapon, um Red Scare, that song Street Life, the 7 inch Street Life. I didn't really relate to the British stuff because I was a little kid, and like British politics didn't really mean very much to me at the time. Um so I like polystyrene, but Dinah Cancer, I really, when I discovered her, I was like, ah, she's so cool. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's the bassist from the Germs, Lorna Doone, and I think Negative Approach. There's very few bands, really, usually on compilations. So I was
I
like,
love
I'm
it's
gonna have
not
to.
the typical discovering music when you're a kid, and it's interesting because I think you bring every project that you were involved, you bring something different, and I think that background it's totally something that I'm sure that define you and make you unique and different because when you create music, that's the thing, we're all different, so that's why you know I think it's you can arrive with something that it's original, and I think that Leftover Track, for example, is one of those bands that bring always something original on the table and different.
The thing that's really cool about joining Leftover Crack and that I admire about Sturgeon is that he can make like a weird topic relatable to tons of people. And that's something that I've struggled with at times. Like, I am really weird, and sometimes it's like too far out there. Like, when I was doing Gash and I started getting into this like Victorian occult satanic ritual magic, people were like, okay, like cool. Like it's got less of like a universal appeal, but Sturgeon could simplify something like, kill cops. It's an extreme message to make some sort of headway into the collective consciousness of knowing that there's a problem with the police system, you know? And Reagan Youth was genius at that also, really simplifying, any town, suburbia, run spot run. It's so memorable and so relatable, you know? So I'm always honored to join these projects and like help spread the message.
Yeah, and I think that it's like you said, and we're such in a weird time, and people are not shocked about almost nothing now. So when you can shake them with something strong, like you said, and just make them realize, there's something happening, some will open their eyes. And I think that we are a lot that, are so frustrating about the situation, and we cannot find words or music to express that frustration. And for my entire life, Leftover Crack has been there, or choking victim of whatever project. Everything he's involved in is bringing that rage out, and I think that's something we need to do, change something that frustrates you and is negative into something positive.
Right. What I would love, like, if I had like a little kid's idealistic dream, would be for like all of like the petty infighting in the scene and like internet gossip and censorship and blah 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 blah, like for all of that to disappear, and for like I always think of music as the unifying force of like all nightlife because that's what brings everyone together in any genre. People go out and whatever club they're going to, they're listening to music. And if there's music with a message that like radiates out into the real world and can change the way people think. So if we could all kind of like come together, we could change the world together because like there's really more of, I'll say, like us than these like imagined authoritative forces that make the world kind of a crappy place. So that's my idealistic Sagittarius and hope for the world, you know.
I would say amen to that because you're right. And yeah, but the thing is, I think that what's happening right now, and the cycle of life is always bring us, because right now we're so divided and we need to unite, and through music I think that's when we connect the most, like human. When you go to show like punk rock show, mostly like people connect with everybody, and they're really open mind, and we're such misfits, but all together we're such a force. It's sad that we're like a lot of band are afraid to say what they think and afraid to do whatever they want, because we're at that time of, you think that you're in that clan, and if you think that
Right.
you're in that side, and I think it's sad that we are such divided, and we don't get that we're all different and unique, and we think differently, everybody. So like with project like Leftover Crack, I think it's bringing all the people together into something that it's musically so fun to listen, but that make you dance and make you realize that there's something more than just working and living in that fucking society.
Right. And Paul from Reagan Youth recently passed, and something he always said was like, one of the best forms of rebellion is having fun. He was like, they hate that we laugh. It's like, he was like, these, like, oppressive elitist rulers are always trying to, like, buy some kind of fun. And like, we can have fun just, sitting on the street together and like playing music. Like, we don't need all this stuff. And he said, like, he thinks it like angers them that we have such a good time, because it's natural, and it's like, it's kind of like a natural love for life, and it's like, even if we're like miserable and depressed, we can, like, in a way, like, celebrate that all together somehow, because we're not alone in it. Like, feeling alone is really where things can be bleak, but it's like with music, there's a relatable message to know that you're not alone, you know that's why, like, I don't know. I thought I was gonna like retire and be this preschool teacher and stuff. And then I met Sturgeon, and I really wanted him to sing for Reagan Youth because we had such problems with singers. Then Paul died. So I ended up in Leftover Crack, and I was not expecting that at all. I was scared. I was scared. I was like, it's like a female singer, but then I saw videos that he's kind of always had female singers. And I just like seeing that there's a lot of female, like, of all types, female identifying. There's trans, young girls, older women coming to our shows. I'm noticing it a lot more, and it's kind of funny. You can kind of see, like, the sides of the stage. There'll be like a kind of like crusty of like Sturgeon's friends, and there's like these, like, kind of girls like in front of me, and it's cool. Like, I'm I always try to talk to people, and I tell them, like, don't just watch the band, be the band. Like, start a band, and like, you don't have to be good, just do it and you'll get good. You know, I didn't know
And
the lyrics on our first tour, and I sucked, and I know I sucked, and I learned them on stage because it was a last minute thing, and I know them now. you know, but it's like, just do it. What are you gonna do? To
yeah,
wait? You know, you have to just like do it. So
it's so cool. You like somebody that have to live in another country with another language, French, for example. You come to Quebec, you have to learn French. So, and you still go out and in restaurants and in seeing show, and you start to learn it. And then after a year, you're like, yeah, I learn it. I have to learn it. So you put yourself into a situation where there's no way, like, because I'm sure, like, you were like, oh fuck, tomorrow I need to, and you just get better to it, and that's cool because you're bringing such a great element when I heard the first single before the video, that song blew my mind. And when I saw the video, I was like, wow, this is pure art. And we need more of that, you know. I know there's a lot of band out there, they try to recreate what they love and what them influence them. But it's cool to see artists that had a vision of trying to change things and do something completely different. And again, it's a new version of Leftover Crack. It's different than Mediocre Generica, for example. But it's cool because that's what I want. And you know, when he did Star Fucking Hipster, that's what I love. That duo between female vocal that bring element that it's kind of new. And it's still weird that we have to say that there's not enough girl. I think, you know, the punk scene is the most welcome scene. And if there's asshole that don't like it, get the fuck out. Girls are way
Yeah.
better than men sometimes. Way better.
Or it's like, don't get the fuck out. Just like, wake up a little bit
Mm.
because, like, I remember going to hardcore. I heard about like these like all ages hardcore matinee shows, and I went and I was the only female, and there was this kind of like bro tough guy, you know, get out, and I was like, why do these guys not want women at the shows? That's weird. It's just
Yeah.
weird, weird, And Paul, I'm going to talk about Paul a lot because he was like my best friend for 12 years. So he said like, I don't understand when punk rock became about like who has the biggest muscles. Like that's like I never worked out back then, and you know I was just like back then I was like, I'll start a band and I'm gonna book my band with like the most masculine DC hardcore, Boston hardcore, and bring as many gay, trans, female, as many people as possible and invite them to perform with us so that we're like a large group representing instead of just like four band members. And what happened is it became this huge party and like it was a blast. Like everyone got along really well. And like, I mean, I have pictures that are like, it's like these like tough guys like wrestling in the pit with like, cute like glitter boys. And, it's like everyone had a blast. And that I think should like continue. I love that there's a queer core scene, but what I would really love is that there's just someday a scene
Yeah.
that, you know, that's not like female fronted or queer core or women's night. It's just music because there's all of us together, you know?
You're right, and that's another problem. And it's weird that the punk scene is so again divided into group of people. You know, the skate scene, for example, and the street punk scene is it's two different worlds, and they don't usually mix together. But with project like Leftover Crack and Reagan Youth, it's been that fine kind of balance between those scenes and kind of bring all these people together and the queers and everybody. And it's beautiful because that is punk for me, like living an experience with people that are so different and I'm learning something and we share and I'm sure I'm learning them something. And at the end, I feel right. I feel alive with human beings that are, you know, they want to breathe and say something that it's meaningful.
That's so cool. Yeah. Gay Rude Boys Unite is like a really cool song. And I hear people cheer in the audience, like, when we play that. Um, I'm not sure. We have like a lot of songs to finish to get this album done. I'm not sure where we're going next, but I know that with White Guilt Atrocity Quilt, I saw some criticisms on mostly like YouTube saying like, oh, this is like more like leftist woke culture, and it's not it's not anything that's like prescribed by social media in our consciousness. um I know like the way we work is like I'll write out a bunch of stuff and give it to Sturgeon, and then Sturgeon writes the lyrics and like hopefully maybe picks up on some of my ideas. And in my real life experience, like I've seen like with my eyes women being trafficked into New York for Giuliani. There was a shift during that era around 9/11 where like the Italian mob was all getting arrested. They brought in the Russian mob and they started trafficking in a lot of women for the politicians. So it's not like some imaginary thing that we watched like a conspiracy show about. Like it's our life. And it's what I've witnessed. And in Philadelphia, like tread on the graves of the dead and the lost. Like this is stolen land from the natives, and there's bones and bodies of people that we don't know that we walk over every day and go to, the mall or whatever, the whole city. And that's the whole country. And it expands out into the whole world. So Sturgeon was saying that he wanted the message to be universal and not so like limited to Philadelphia, because I was writing about like this playground in Philadelphia because that's what I knew about. So it's cool that like he can like listen to me and then make it expansive and poetic and lyrical.
That's so
So
cool, and it's such a point. In Canada, they discover like what they did with the native and their children, like hundreds and thousands of bones without no names and anything that were buried just in the ground, uh, just behind the school, and they were
right.
killing them, like they were rape them, kill them, like the fucking priests. What they did was so awful. It's sad because they say like kids are kids are rough and some are really evil, but it's the human. I think we're evil when you got it's all about the greedy thing. It's always been around that. So it's
Yeah.
great. It's great that you talk about subject like that. And yeah, because like I said, like he said, like it's not just in Philadelphia or New York, or it's fucking
Right.
everywhere in the world. And there's a huge child trafficking, huge and women and even men. It's
Yeah.
really, and we don't have to close our eyes. We need to talk about that and spread the word so people are aware. And again, it's changing something really negative, something horrible, into something
Yeah.
positive with music.
With music. Yeah. I think that's why there's such like an attack on musicians. And um I mean, like cancel culture has become a kind of bleh. It's like such a tedious topic, but I think it stems from capitalism, and it's almost like in an unknowing way, like there used to be tabloids where it was like, someone would become popular and then you gossip about them and cut them down to elevate yourself, and like, oh, ha ha ha, this famous pop star is doing so bad. But now it's like if somebody has a strong message, they could very easily just be taken out and deleted, and that message will just be lost. And I think that the safest bands that don't expose maybe like how can I say this? See, like I even have to be safe. People in the industry who are higher ups that are in charge of like what albums get out, right? It's like um they can easily just annihilate someone's career and disappear them by using like this tactic of making up a story about them, saying maybe they're abusive and just annihilating their whole career. And then that's it, you know? And then like the safest bands rise to the top and nothing's really said. We have songs about beer and pizza, which is fine and fun, you know? Like I love the spits. I love, let me play your party, But like it's also important to get this information out and not just have it be small and underground, to have it be huge, so that like it creates change in the world. So it takes a lot to be fearless. And I like the direction Leftover Cracks taking with recidivist Bible camp of Sturgeon self-releasing, because there's no one to say what he's allowed to say and not allowed to say right now. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's freedom of speech, and whatever, like it or not, we're supposed to be free to say whatever we want. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see the evolution of that records. Yeah, because like I said, like the first song, "Shoot Aside," was so strong, and the video. So how did that idea behind the video came out?
Okay, shoot aside. Something strange happened, okay? Because sound wise, that is not the song that we mixed. It sounded completely different when we mixed it, and we're not working with the people who were working on that song. It's my voice sounds garbled. Things went awry. Askew, awry. I don't know if there was an affair. Something happened. Okay. But I do love the video visually. And that was before I was in the band. We were out in California playing the last Reagan Youth show, and we were scheduled to record a song with Cleopatra Records, a cover song, a Rolling Stones song. We really didn't want to do it very much, but we love Paul. So we went there and we were locked out. Why? I don't know. We can only assume that maybe that record label saw us as a liability because it was at the height of like the cancel thing and they didn't want, you know, our kind to like tarnish their reputation or whatever. So, I mean, it's weird to be scheduled to record and then be locked out. Like we're standing there with our instruments. I was in direct sunlight, which I hate. I was panicking. Sturgeon was in the car and he said, "Hey, do you want to go record a Leftover Crack song?" And I was like, "Totally." So we went to go do Shoot Aside and we were like frantically writing lyrics back and forth, like, on the way there, outside on the picnic table. And we recorded, and then the tracks were sent, and then the tracks were sent to somebody else, and then things got a little weird. So I'm glad you like it, but I think I feel a lot better about Brad Sabbath and White Gold Atrocity Quilt sound wise. I
So
feel like we're closer to what we're going to sound like.
so I get it. I get it. And it's sad when it happened and it's frustrating. But yeah, I feel like those two songs were so different, and I get why. But yeah,
Yeah,
when you don't know the story, it feel like, oh, it's different sounding. But yeah, you're right. It's if they fucked up, but anyway, so
yeah.
I'm curious. It's such an interesting interview. We're gonna do a part two, I'm sure, later when the records is gonna be done, because it's really interesting talking to you. But I'm
Thank you.
curious, how's gonna be the rest of the year for Leftover Crack? I know there's some shows.
Lots of shows. Um, we are currently still booking shows in Europe. Um, I don't even know where we're playing. I know we're doing Hellfest and um, what's that boat venue in France? Do you know it? It's a freaking boat. It's so cool. I played there before, and I really want to play there. I know Leftover Crack played there.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
remember the name, but I'm gonna put it available when I did
okay,
the interview. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, every band that went there, so it's a fantastic festival.
cool. I'm hoping that we could play that boat. I'd love to get into like Croatia, Slovenia, Prague, um, you know, all over the place. And we have the album to put out and another video. So, we have a lot, a lot going on.
Cross
And
finger to have you in Canada. I know Sturge have, and I'm sorry about that. Our border are pain in the ass, and we know that. And I apologize sincerely for that. I know it's been a pain in the ass for him. I saw Leftover Crack when they came for Media Generica, and then they came after, I think, for Fuck World Trade, and the show was canceled because he didn't pass the border. And they came back at Envol et Macadam with the singer of the Casualties, and I don't remember who was the other one who sang, but
yeah,
they did a Leftover Crack show, but unfortunately Sturge didn't make it because of our border. So come on, guys, we want to have Leftover Crack back.
we have some plans. I can't talk about it, but we have plans, and I think it's gonna work out. So we'll get there. We have
That
we have some.
if
So
people want to encourage the band, is there merch or anything to, of course, help out before the records?
I know that all the old stuff is being re-released. I would go to the Leftover Crack Instagram. I think that's where all the information, that's where I always go to find out what's going on with us. Um so that's where everything would be announced on the Leftover Crack Instagram. And then we have our individual pages. Sturgeon is Crack Daddy Kane, Stiz a Crack, I'm Tibbie X, and then there's a bunch of us, John Yee, it's Ethan, Skunk, Mark, we're all on the Leftover Crack page, so you could find all the band members. And Holly, we need a title for her because no gods, no managers. She's our not manager, but person that helps.
Our therapist.
Yeah, therapist, definitely. Definitely.
Tibbie, I really had a blast. Seriously, thank you so much. And thank you for being involved in music for such a long time and sticking to it. If it were easy, everybody would do this. We need more people like you. And thank you for not shutting your mouth down and always saying what you think because it's important. And like, yeah, thank you for your time. I really had a blast.
So much. You're great to talk to. Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Prescription is what you need. No more inhibition. Set yourself free. Just let go. That's my only plea. A punk prescription.